First thing we're gonna go over with these bigger baits is the proper equipment, including the rod, reel, and making sure you're picking a rod that not only can handle casting these baits, but effectively fishing them. And there's a couple things I'm looking for, especially with the big glide bait. Now the rod's gotta be able to do a few things here. Number one, it's gotta cast the bait comfortably and accurately. Right now I'm throwing this 10-inch glide bait that weighs about 6 ounces on a F10 711 ONAGER, which is in the Destroyer series. And I'm throwing it on this rod because this rod is rated for 4 to 8 ounce baits, so it falls in perfectly within that range. But it's also got to help facilitate the swimming motion of these baits. And you know, with these glide baits in particular, you're really looking to focus on rhythm and cadence. You don't want a super fast rod that doesn't let this bait swing horizontally left and right. You want it to load properly when you cast, so it's minimal effort, you don't wear yourself out. And if you're fishing the proper rod like I am here, that's gonna actually help you properly swim this bait left and right and really trigger those bigger fish into committing. And it's also the proper rod because once you get a fish to commit on this giant lure, it's gonna help facilitate the hookup percentage and keeping those big trebles pinned to that fish, because you're dealing with a 6 ounce lure here. And if you're fishing too fast of a rod, you can stand the chance of either pulling the hook straight out of their face or having them come up and go airborne and shake it completely free. I really only use 2 styles of reels. I utilize a low profile, high gear ratio, 7:1 when I'm fishing a fast active bait like this, when I'm covering a lot of water, running down the bank, and I need to keep up with the pace of the boat moving forward while still keeping that bait moving pretty quickly. But other than that, I'm fishing a 5:8:1 gear ratio typically on a big, powerful round reel. I can slow roll a bait and also pick up speed if I need to in most situations. But most importantly, when I do hook the biggest fish in my life, I've got the power and the torque to winch these things straight to the boat. The line I'm fishing is really dependent on where in the column I'm trying to present this big glide bait. So I utilize mono, fluoro, and at times braid to leader. When I'm fishing it super high, I tend to fish it on straight monofilament. You know, it keeps the bait up a little bit higher, so if I'm throwing over a shallow rock point or grass and I want to keep that bait from sinking into, you know, vegetation, that's exactly what I'm using. On the opposite end of that, if I'm fishing this thing over the deeper portions of a point or off a ledge or a submerged hump and I want to get this bait down, I'm fishing it on straight fluorocarbon. That denser fluoro will have the effect of kind of pulling this bait down as you work it. So you can get, you know, anything from an extra 2 to 10 feet depending on the cadence of your retrieve. But there are times, especially up here in the north, where I'm fishing braided line to a heavy fluoro or a light wire leader. That's in the case that we're fishing in and around pike or muskie or other toothy critters that could potentially bite your bait off. That's exactly why having the right tool matters, because a big fish will expose any weakness you have in this whole chain.